Hey guys, it's Luca from Learning MTG, and today's video kind of a clickbaity title, but what are the foils that are going to be really hard to find moving forward and that you should grab now and before it's kind of too late? So one of the things that we do at foilmagiccards.com is we like to collect lots of data because it kind of informs our decisions. We can kind of see where this market heading. And one of the questions I was most curious to know was, okay, we've got all these different sets, right? Starting from Urza's Legacy, Urza's Destiny, ending at Onslaught, Legion, Scourge, right? So we've got, I think it's about 15 sets. Which ones of these are the rarest? Which ones are the least rarest, right? Because those who've studied Magic's print run history, you know that there's kind of like ebbs and flows in the print runs of Magic. There are certain times where Magic is really popular, and there's certain times where Magic is not so popular. And so in the popular times, the sets have a higher print run, and in the less popular times, there's a lower print run. So I was curious. It's really hard to get this data. I don't think there is a consistent way to get print run data, right? So it's all kind of speculation. Different people have different methodologies in terms of calculating this. I calculate it in one specific way, and it has its own limitations, certainly. But the way that I like to figure this out is just by looking at TCG data. How many copies are available? Um, I like to average it over a whole set so that it's more averaged out. I guess there's less variation, and just compare the sets to each other. So without further ado, here is some of the data. So we scraped all of the foil rares from Mercadian Mass to 7th edition and everything in between and before. And we looked at the average supply. So supply is telling you how many copies on average were available in your mint, and the price is also here. But for this, I'm going to be most concerned with supply. And if you graph these on an XY plane here, you can see that there's really three sets that kind of stand out. Maybe a fourth set, but there's three sets that have a really, really low print run according to this metric, and they all happen to be in the same block. So it's Mercadian Mass, Nemesis, and Prophecy. So I've also heard from people that I think like Urza's Legacy was really broken and it pushed a lot of people away from the game. And so Mercadian Mass block came right after Urza's block. And I think there was a lower print run and just less people playing the game in general. You have to also understand that at different points in Magic's history, foils were more or less rare. And I really should know these off the top of my head, but I do believe that for a set like Mercadian Mass, there's probably less foils per booster box than a set like Legions, but I will have to double check that. Um, but this is the data, and I think it also lines up with my own personal data, right? So for the past 2 years, I've been trying to pick up any copy I can find that was like really high quality, like close to pack fresh, as close to pack fresh as possible of any of these old border foil sets. And I can tell you that certain sets is a lot easier to find stuff than others. Like Onslaught, very easy to find stuff. Um, Legion, Scourge, I didn't have too much trouble. Then there are other sets that were a lot more difficult, like Invasion. It's hard to find stuff. Um, let's see, Invasion Block, so also Torments, Judgment. But I'll tell you, the sets that were definitely the hardest were the Mercadian Mass, Nemesis, Prophecy, and lines up perfectly with this data here, which shows you that they have the lowest amount of cards available on TCG Player in near mint. Let's see, there's also this set here, and that set is 7th edition. So 7th edition is like the next one after those three. And there's a really nice video that Rudy just made about 7th edition foils. I'll add that in the description of this video. But he talks about the extreme rarity of 7th edition. And if he's right, I'm basically saying like, hey, actually I think Mercadian Mass, Nemesis, Prophecy are actually even more rare than 7th. So that's just the data that I have here. And also the kind of interesting thing about these three sets is they're not even that expensive. So relative to the other foils, they're about the same price. The only foils that are significantly higher in price would be the 7th edition and the Urza sets. In fact, one of the things that I've noticed from this data is that Urza's is like Urza's Destiny is about medium supply, and Urza's Legacy extremely high supply. Let's see if I get that. Did I get that right? Yeah. So I think actually what's going on here is that a lot of people have kind of bought into Urza's Legacy, probably because it's the very first foil set, but it's not nearly as rare. It actually may be like the most common foil set that you can find. I couldn't even tell you the reasons, but maybe because maybe that set itself had a high print run. Maybe there's like Magic Online, or I don't think so. I don't think you get a full foil set from Magic Online, but basically there seems to be a lot of Urza's Legacy. It seems to be the most common um, foil rare that you can find on TCG Player. You do have to keep in mind, right? So with my measure, there could be ebbs and flows of lots of people listing cards on TCG Player or lots of copies getting taken off the market, which could kind of mess with this data. But to stick with the original theme of this video, which cards should you get before it's too late? You should really go after these Mercadian Mass, Nemesis, Prophecy. I think these are really undervalued and they're really hard to find. Looking at this data, you're going to have about 3 copies of near mint foils available per card, right? So let's pick a random. What's I want to pick cards that I don't own myself. So what's a random foil rare from Nemesis, Mercadian Mass, or Prophecy? I don't know. How about Aerial Caravan? I have some of these, but I don't have any listed. I don't think so. I wanna pick cards that I don't have listed on here. So you can see there's only 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 copies available. That's quite rare. Um, and even just foil, even if you include like moderately played and stuff, there's only 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 copies. So, as you can see, the stuff is extremely rare. Also, Mercadian Mass is a bigger set than Nemesis and Prophecy. So when you have a bigger set, there's just that many less copies because there's more rares. So it's difficult to get each individual rare. But yeah, that's it for this video. I think, and I can tell you that personally, our business, foilmagiccards.com, this is what we've been going after for the past few months. We've been specifically targeting these 3 sets. So that's kind of where we're putting our money. Yeah, I hope this video was helpful, and I hope to see you guys in the next video. And really, the goal of this channel is just to make public all our ideas and strategies when it comes to investing in Magic cards. And I really hope this channel is helpful to a lot of people. See you guys.